Hi, and welcome to this video, and welcome back to my simulator. Recently, Asobo delivered SU6 to Flight Simulator 2020, and if you fly the 787 with the heavy mod, unfortunately the ability to import SimBrief flight plans got disconnected or broken in that process. So today I go through how I fixed it and got it running again. Hope you come along for the ride. Just powered on the 787 with the heavy mod, and I'll show you the problem that we're having. Obviously the alignment's not happening. This is a bit light. FMC, so we can go up to the roof, turn that down a little bit. Contrast is much better on here now. I can align that, but it doesn't make any difference. If I go into POSINET, I'm at YSSY, Sydney. I know I'm at gate 5, and I know the heading is 242. Take the GPS and populate that. Next round. Now here on this page, here's the first problem. I can't add an origin. The runway button is missing. Destination I can add, which is where I'm going, so YMML. If I request load from SimBrief, that button doesn't do anything. Now, prior to upgrade 6 or SU6, that would actually attempt to load the actual flight plan, but when SimBrief did their update a couple of weeks ago, that function stopped working, and then it failed after 2 lines and just crashed out. But now it's totally dead, doesn't do anything. So you can actually click next page, and you can add in like the next one, like say we'll go, that's just another, oops, I'll just add one of the waypoints along the way, and then I'll add in Boise. So that'll work, and then I'll activate that, and we'll put that. But if you go up here, actually normally it doesn't show you anything anyway, even unless you're in plan view, but you can see even if you zoom that all the way out, you see absolutely nothing there, even though we've only got the 2 legs. If you go to departure and arrival, there's no departure here at all, there's arrival. And although Boeing say you shouldn't do the arrival part till you're in the air, if you actually do the arrival, I'm going 16Z RB and hit enter on that. Now on here I have to hit RB to complete that, and when the IRS is aligned, we'll now get the flight plan here. But if you don't put the departure in, if you don't put the arrival in, it won't come up here, and it doesn't work. And if you take off, it doesn't actually lock onto the LNAV at all, so you just end up going straight. Once you engage the autopilot, it seems to just follow the heading mode. So I think that's about it. These sorts of things work. You can load in, say, 250. and you can load that in there. You could load 18,000 feet into the transition altitude. You can load your reserve. See here, I could put 20 in that. The heavy tools as well work. You can put in temperature, say 26, and you can select your primary and secondary climb. That works. VNAV displays that. Go through all your legs. You can enter speeds and altitudes here if you like. You can enter a hold in around a particular waypoint. That works well. That shows you your program. It's actually loaded this now that I put in the arrival procedure. It loads this when you do that. And I know that for Melbourne it's 14.1. You can load that in as your left VOR. And the heavy does work. You can go to the Payload Manager. For a short flight like this, I'd do 7,200. You can see, if I put the system on here, fuel, it's currently fuel in all three tanks. If I put in this 70 to 200 here and then hit execute, it'll load that fuel in just across the two wings, because that's all that's needed. So obviously when you're on the roof, you wouldn't turn on these two center pumps. But either way, the way it currently is, the FMC is not functioning. Everything's not functioning, so I'm going to go through the procedure of how to fix that. 10 seconds out here from the IRS aligning, and we'll see if that makes any difference. Okay, the IRS is aligned. Check that. Go to route. Okay, that's still not working. I know before I was able to enter an origin and I was able to enter a runway. That button's not even there anymore. We'll try and load from SimBrief again, see what happens. No, it's not working. Absolutely not working. Let's try entering a couple of waypoints. I'll activate that. And you see it's still nothing's come up on here on the plan view. Again, departure arrival. If I do my arrival, 16Z, RB, and now look what's happened. But see, there's no departure in the plan. It knows where I am. Right? It can clearly it can tell where I am. So if I zoom into like 40 and I go through and step through my legs, I'll fix that. Right, Boise to Wazza, there we go. So now if I step through, it goes through all the steps there, but at the beginning it sees Boise as the first, or Wazza as the first location. So no departure, only arrival. I've entered that now, so that would have appeared here, the ILS, the 109.7. So unfortunately, even with the IRS aligned, it hasn't made any difference. Alright, so let's go and make some changes and fix this thing. Okay, so now I've shut down the simulator. just have a look here in my community folder. What I'm going to do is take my modification or mod for the 787, and I'm going to put it into this Microsoft Holding Quarantine folder that I have set up. Okay, now you have to go down a couple of folders to the official and the one store, where your official aircraft and liveries are stored. I downloaded with Microsoft, so I'm not sure if Steam is any different, but I'm sure if it is, you'll know where to find it. Okay, sort by aircraft. I'll take that back. No. Sorry, just want to widen that up. Okay, so we're looking for this, the Asobo Aircraft B787, and I'm going to put that into my quarantine folder, so in case anything goes wrong I can put it back. So I'll move that in there. So now it's only liveries that remain behind for the 787. Let's fire up the simulator again and see what happens. Okay, it's detected that it's missing something, so it's just downloading, as you can see here, the B787-10, so it's reinstalling that missing aircraft. Okay, here we are again, we're back up. We'll just check that message. Yep, telling me it's downloaded in the background. So we're going to the world map. And yes, the 787's still there. All the details about it are still correct. So let's go and load that flight and head back to Sydney Airport and see whether or not we are in fact in the vanilla aircraft. And here we go. We'll launch back in. Just select my views and we will power it on. And we'll go straight up to here. We'll turn on the external power. Set the passengers down. I'm going to let's see here. Do I need to do it? No, the IRSs don't need to be aligned because obviously we're in the basic model. And yes, okay, let's see what we get. Oh yeah, the IRS is aligned already, so we're definitely in the standard aircraft. I'll just put that out a bit. We can see that in fact our flight plan is already there. We'll go through here. YSSY is airport, gate 5. 242 is my heading. Was a net route. Got there, and so the origin's SSY. It's obviously loaded the default in there. My flight path is there. We could hit the legs page here and step through it. And we'll see that it's going to go all the way to Melbourne. That's correct. Departures and arrival, both buttons are available, which is good if you have to change what you're doing there. There's no heavy button. Navrad says localizer 16, but it doesn't have the actual frequency. You'd have to put that in. That's 109.7 for runway 16 in Melbourne. The VOR is not 109.7, so that's something it's doing by mistake. It's 114.1 is the VOR there. So okay, so now we're back to the basic aircraft. We'll have to back out again out of this, and we will go back to the main menu, unzip and install the heavy mod for the 787 version 1.10. Change down my view. Okay, we've definitely got the mod because the IRS is not automatically aligned. Add some ground power. Get them seated. Logo light on. I'm going to turn that contrast down a bit because I know what that means. And let's have a look at the FMC. It's still a bit... I'll make that a bit darker. Okay, let's go through and see what happens now. YSSY, gate 5, heading 242. YSY, drum roll. Nope, nada. Okay, well, in the interest of saving some time and to cut a long story short, I basically did go through this and check everything, and of course it was exactly the same. So no change with removing the aircraft from the simulator and reinstalling it. It made absolutely no difference at all. Around about this time I received an email giving me a link to the development version of this mod, which was tested with release 6, and so we might just jump in and I'll install that, and then we can come back and test the development version of the mod and see what happens. Maybe even go for a test flight. We'll actually fly this flight from Sydney to Melbourne, and we'll see how that goes. Well, let's get started again here. I've loaded the development version of the 787 Heavy mod. Let's see how that performs. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to let's power up sim so that we can go through our first initial checks. Okay, we're at the fixed part. Okay, so we've just powered up here. I'm just going to go up top and align the IRSs. So we have to do a quick bit of the checklist. This, of course, is after we've added the dev version of the post SU6 heavy mod. So I'm just going to quickly go through my checklist here. I'm going to make sure my logo nav lights are on. I've got all my de-ice to auto. Nav is on. I'm going to start my APU, turn that on. And I'm going to turn on the ground power. And then I'm going to hit the IRS there to align that and go back to the main view. I'm actually going to turn the contrast down on the FMC because when I go down there it'll look much better. Okay, before I attempt to do anything with this, I'll show you what I'm doing. I've got, let's see what we've got here. We've got our SimBrief page open, and I did actually just check the flight pan through to go from SSY or YSSY through to YMML, so it's Sydney to Melbourne. This was the flight plan that I asked SimBrief to produce. It did actually have problems with War and Tanya. So this is what it's produced, which is fine. So I've done that. I will start the SimBrief. Let me just yep, I'll just fire up the actual SimBrief program. Forgot to pin it up here, so I always have it. Actually, keep that down this end here. So I'll just import the files. There we go, and that's done. So that should all work now. So we'll go through to heavy here, and we will do the Payload Manager. So I only load 7200. You can see the weights changing here, so that's working. And that should basically give me, here we go, fuel in the wings, but nothing in the fuselage. It's only a short flight. So let's go back down here. That's nearly done. Okay, let's go to our initial reference. We will go to ident. Reference airport is YSSY. I know we're at gate 5 and the heading is 242. I take the GPS position and enter it. I find to get into less trouble. Now this is where it failed before, the origin. So it now takes the origin and allows you to put a runway. We'll be departing 16 right if everything loads okay, and our destination is YMML, which is Melbourne. And let's request our flight plan from SimBrief and see what happens. I've got a throttle up there. There we go, dunes. That'll be in the southern hemisphere. See, it's loading through all our points here. This is working nicely now. Once again, that one's south as well. There's 2 Taraxes. I think it's that one. Okay, that's good. So that seems to have happened. Nice, we've got our pages there. We can activate that. We can go check our legs and have a look. Of course, it's not going to show anything up here on the plan yet because the IRS is not aligned, but we can set that up ready to go. Yeah, to like 2040, that's right. Let's go back. I'll enter 20 as my reserve. We now of course have the cruise altitude of 300, cost index is 40. It's 14.1. It's a cold day out there. I'm going to put 15 degrees in there. I'm going to set my initial climb to that, but we'll climb a little bit quieter after that. 5 degrees flaps. Runway 16 is in there. V2 speed is 159. I will put in, well, it seems a bit slow for me, but I'll put in 185. Probably should be slower, but we'll put that in, and I have pre-flight complete, which is excellent. We can go to departures and arrivals. I'll just check my departures, Gina 7, that's correct. And I'll do the arrival once I'm in the air. VNAV. Yep, these are sort of correct. I think I'll probably make this 250. Thousand. That all works okay. Fine. Alright, now I need to go back to the index here. Just check everything. And once the IRS is aligned, we'll be able to check the flight plan and confirm that everything's okay. So we've got 2 minutes to go. As soon as that's complete, we'll come back. Well, let's go. Might as well do some more on my checklist. Window heat's on. We should do our baro. Set our barometric pressure. That's correct. We check the fuel. IRS is still running. Let's make sure the passengers come in, that they sit down. We've got the logo and we have the nav lights on. We'll go down here actually. We'll turn the flight director on. Oh, it's our IRS. Oh, I've got the path actually over here on the PFD is actually showing it, but we'll have to wait a second, to another 40 seconds. We can set our auto brakes to RTO. The IRS aligning. There we go. That's okay. Alright, let's get in a little bit better so we can see. So we have to go there. Let's go to the legs page, make sure everything's okay. Runway 16. Dunes, Dina, Campy, Razzie, Rumi, that's right. Nevar, sorry, Bulla, Terex, YMML. Okay, so that's all there, and we'll enter our departure later. Oh, sorry, we'll enter the arrival later. I'll do another little video for that. Now I do notice that the thrust, let me just check my takeoff again. Thrust limits, that's that. I might make that even quieter. Takeoff, these are all correct. $1500. I'm just looking because I noticed that despite the fact that I've done this here, it hasn't appeared up here. It should appear here what your D rating is. So like it'd be say plus 15 degrees C, D to TO1 plus 30 or whatever I've done. Anyway, that bit works. So what I might do is let's check the checked our flight path. Oh, hello. Oh, here we have to turn on LNAV, VNAV, and over here on the primary flight display to go LNAV, VNAV. Alright, I'll get everything going, and when I come back we'll be at the runway ready to go. We'll see if the auto thrust and everything works for takeoff. Okay, I guess we should be doing our pre-flight look around outside. There we are, we're flying that beautiful Qantas Yam Dreaming livery today. And we are at Sydney Airport. It's quite a nice day. There appears to be a plane stuck up in the middle of the air up here. Seems very strange. Looks like somebody was flying and they've been abandoned. Alright. Well, let's start our checklist and I'll be back in a sec. Well, I'm sorry to cut it short there, but those of you who've flown from Sydney to Melbourne would realise that a flight would be at least an hour long, and in fact with editing in this case it's about 30-35 minutes, so it means that this video would be more than an hour, so that's a bit too long. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it here, and this will be the video obviously on the repair of the mod, and we'll have you back in a short amount of time for part 2, which will be the flight from Sydney to Melbourne. Now if this works out right, the link to that flight should be in the description for this video. Okay, so in the meantime I want you all look after each other, take care and be kind to one another, and with that we'll see you soon on the next episode of Tips and Tricks.